What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB. Los Angeles Dodgers versus Toronto Blue Jays, Game 7. So this is the last game of the World Series, and therefore the last game of the MLB season. So regardless of who wins tomorrow, ba- professional baseball is done till next season. So yeah. So the Dodgers have a 50.3% chance to win, and the Blue Jays have a 49.7% chance to win. This is at Toronto. So for pitchers, the Dodgers have not decided on a pitcher yet at the time of recording this, and for the Blue Jays, Scherzer has an ERA of 5.19 and a WHIP of 1.29. So yeah, obviously this hasn't been Scherzer's best year. So as far as like pitching advantage, it can be like hard to say. I mean, you don't necessarily have good pitching from Scherzer, but you don't have any pitcher named for the Dodgers. So who knows who they're pitching tomorrow? I mean, but with the way the batting works, yeah. So I think that yeah, I think I think it's definitely I think it's a pitching advantage for the Dodgers based on who the batters that Scherzer is most likely going to be dealing with. So yeah, so despite the home field advantage that the Blue Jays have, I think with the pitching advantage, well, mostly due to the batters in the case of the Dodgers, I think the Dodgers will beat the Blue Jays tomorrow to win the World Series and be this year's champions. College football. Vanderbilt Commodores versus Texas Longhorns. Vandy has a 29.6% chance to win, and Texas has a 70.4% chance to win. This is at Texas, so Vanderbilt is a 9 the nation, 7-1 record. Texas is 20 the nation, 6-2 record. So yeah, this could be a good game. The biggest thing is if Arch Manning is playing. You know, basically so right now it's if Manning doesn't play, Matthew Caldwell is going to start. Yeah, so and that is going to make things. And of course, if Manning does come back, of course, there's always concern of repeat injury, and Pavia playing like he is. So with Diego Pavia, he's 139 out 202, 1698 yards, 50 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So this could be a really good game. This is at Texas. That is going to be a big deal. So Vanderbilt. Let's be real. Vanderbilt does not have a lot of football fans, so they're not going to be able to get as many people to Austin, Texas, as some other SEC schools would. So it could be interesting. Like even if um you know like basically who know like if Caldwell is a star, like it being at Texas is going to be such a big deal. So I think due to the fact that it's at Texas, I think Texas beats Vanderbilt tomorrow. Georgia Bulldogs versus Florida Gators. Yeah, so the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. So yeah, so Georgia has a 79.2% chance to win. Florida has a 20.8% chance to win. this isn't Jacksonville, so as far as home field advantage, you have about 50-50 between Georgia and Florida. That's generally how it goes. So, you know, it's not necessarily a home field advantage here. So, Georgia's 5 in the nation, 6-1 record. Florida's unranked, 3-4 record. Why the spread is only 7.5 in favor of Georgia, I don't know. The reason I'm making a pick on this game is because that spread is so low. I thought it would have been a lot higher, especially with the QB play. I mean, granted, I wouldn't say near QB is good, but Stockton, 141 out of 200, 1553 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 reception. You know, DJ Lagway, 145 out of 222, 1513 yards, 9 touchdowns, 9 receptions. Very obvious that Stockton's a lot better than Lagway. Like, it's pretty freaking obvious. Like, the spread should be a lot higher. Like, I don't know what the frick is going on here with like, yes, it's a big rivalry game. You know, and, yeah, some games have been close, but I I don't think, and yeah, Georgia's defense has had some issues. I just I don't see Florida playing it close, and I can't see it objectively, and I freaking hate the Gators. Like they can like go dogs, yeah. Like objectively, like normally I would not like with how bad Florida is. A 3-4 team should not be like really a number 5 team that's ranked that with the number 5 team with the 6-1 record should not be only favored by 7.5 against an unranked team with 3-4 record. I mean, holy frick, how high can people think about Florida? I mean, yes, they beat Texas somehow in the swamp, and they beat Mississippi State after one of the most retarded interceptions ever. But I mean, I think Georgia's just so much better than Florida, and there's not really a home field advantage here. So obviously, Georgia beats Florida tomorrow. Texas Tech Red Raiders versus Kansas State Wildcats. Texas Tech has a 64.5% chance to win, and Kansas State has a 35.5% chance to win. This is at Kansas State, so Texas Tech is 13 nation, 7-1 record. Kansas State's unranked with a 4-4 record. So, with quarterbacks, you have Moore in for Texas Tech, 104 out 152, 1501 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Johnson for Kansas State, 151 out 240, 1792 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So, comparable stats with quarterbacks. This could be interesting. You know, spread's a lot lower than I would have expected for a game like this. Like, you know, I guess some people are just a little high on Kansas State or a little low on Texas Tech. I mean, I think that Texas Tech is like a good bit better than Kansas State. So I think, whatever home field advantage Kansas State has, I think Texas Tech will beat Kansas State tomorrow. Virginia Cavaliers versus Cal Golden Bears. Virginia has a uh, has a 68% chance to win, and Cal has a 32% chance to win. This is at Cal. So Virginia's 15 nation, 7-1 record. Cal is unranked, 5-3 record. So yeah, so quarterbacks, we have Morris for Virginia, 165 out of 246, 1807 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Saga Holutele for Cal, 175 out of 287, 1982 yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 receptions. So, comparable stats for quarterbacks. And, I, yeah, I mean, Cal has some issues with run defense and all that. And, yeah, like, I think Virginia is it's better than Cal. So I think Virginia will beat Cal tomorrow. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets versus North Carolina State Wolfpack. So Georgia Tech has a 71.1% chance to win, and NC State has a 28.9% chance to win. This is at NC State, so Georgia Tech is 8 in the nation, 8-0 record. NC State's unranked 4-4 record. Yeah, the only reason I'm making a pick on this is that the spread's only 5.5 in favor of Tech. With quarterbacks, you have Haynes King 133 out of 184, 1480 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 reception. Of course, he also has for rushing yards 113 carries with 651 yards, 12 touchdowns. You have Bailey for NC State 179 out of 255, 2071 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So obviously from the passing perspective, looks like that Bailey's the better quarterback. Who knows how much that will affect. Haynes King as a runner. Of course, there's the concerns with injury, which for Haynes King is always a concern. Like it is. There's always concern about injury when it comes to Haynes King. It ain't like Tua level, but like what the Dolphins have to deal with. But yeah, so it's yeah, so this is a could be a interesting game with it being at Raleigh. And so yeah, so I mean I like it's hard to say how good NC State will be able to handle like Haynes King, like their defense, if they're able to do well this year, that will really help against Haynes King. And so obviously there are some concerns. Like I think with how NC State has played, I don't think they'll be able to contain King enough to prevent you know Tech from being able to win. So I think Georgia Tech will beat NC State tomorrow. Oklahoma Sooners versus Tennessee Volunteers. Oklahoma has a 37% chance to win. Tennessee is a 63% chance to win. This is at Tennessee. So Oklahoma is 18 in nation, 6-2 record. Tennessee is 14 in nation, 6-2 record. So quarterbacks you have the tier for Oklahoma 150 out 236, 1790 yards, 8 touchdowns, interceptions. So then Aguiar for Tennessee 166 out 252, 2344 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So obviously with Mateer having these injury issues and Aguiar playing as well as he has, obviously Tennessee is the definite QB advantage, and that's going to be a big role. That combined with the home field advantage that Tennessee will have in Knoxville. So yeah. So I think this could be a good game, but I think Tennessee is gonna beat Oklahoma tomorrow. USC Trojans versus Nebraska Cornhuskers. USC has a 72.2% chance to win. Nebraska has a 27.8% chance to win. This is at Nebraska. So yeah, so USC is 23 in the nation, 5-2 record. Nebraska is unranked, 6-2 record. Yeah, really only picking this game because the spread's like 4.5. So quarterbacks you have Mayava for USC, 145 out of 213, 2180 yards, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Raiola for Nebraska, 171 out of 235, 1909 yards, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So comparable stats for quarterbacks. So this could be a decent game, but I think USC right now is better than Nebraska. So I think USC will beat Nebraska tomorrow. Cincinnati Bearcats versus Utah Utes. Um, so Cincinnati is a 19.5% chance to win. Utah is an 80.5% chance to win. This is at Utah. So Cincinnati is 17 in the nation, 7-1 record. Utah is 24 in the nation, 6-2 record. So yeah, that's a high percentage for Utah to win, despite both being ranked. Utah is favored by 10.5. So yeah, I guess. So with quarterbacks, you have Sorsby for Cincinnati, 133 out of 204, 1843 yards, 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. Dampier for Utah, 138 out of 201, 1375 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So based on numbers, you would think like Cincinnati has the QB advantage. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff with Utah, like his overall team. They're generally one of the top teams and generally in whichever conference they're in. Right now, it's the Big 12. Of course, they were previously the Pac-12, where they're able to compete a lot. So yeah, I think with the overall roster, like I think with that and the home field advantage, I think Utah will beat Cincinnati tomorrow. NBA. Houston Rockets versus Boston Celtics. The Rockets have a 57.6% chance to win, and the Celtics have a 42.4% chance to win. This is at Boston. So yeah, with injuries, you have for the Rockets, Dorian Finney-Smith and Fred VanVleet are out, and for the Celtics, Jason Tatum is out. So obviously, with VanVleet and Tatum being out, that's big impacts for both teams. And of course, with other rosters, you have for the Rockets, you have Clint Capella, Isaiah Crawford, Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, Aaron Holiday. For the Celtics, have Jaylen Brown, Luke Garza, um, Mari Williams, Derek White. So you have some decent rosters. Obviously Kevin Durant being a big deal as far as rosters concerned. Like he's probably one of the best players on the court in this game. So it could get interesting. And but I think you know, I think with the home field advantage, I think the Celtics roster is gonna be good enough to be able to overtake Durant and be able to beat the Rockets tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.